Okay, we're going to look at quiz 1. These are, we're going to look at how to solve these problems. We're going to look at all 15 questions. So here we go with number 1. We have a missing angle right here, but remember the sum of the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So we're going to call, say, 45 plus 60 plus x equals 180. We're going to solve for x. Subtract 105 from both sides, and x in this case is the angle. It is 75 degrees. Okay, number 2, we're solving for x in this situation. So again, same thing. All three will add up to equal 180. So 81 plus 43 plus 7x equals 180. Simplify. 124 plus 7x equals 180. Subtract 124. 7x equals 56. Divide by 7. And x equals 8. We're solving for x, which is why that is our answer, and we don't have to plug it into anything. Okay, number 3. This question gave a lot of people trouble. It is, if you recall, angle 102 is an exterior angle. An exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So 2 plus 8x plus 13x minus 5 equals angle 102, or the angle measure 102. Simplify it, we get, what, 21x minus 3 equals 102. Add 3 to both sides. Get 105, divide by 21, and x equals 5. The question asks us to solve for x, so x equals 5 is my solution. Okay, number 4. Same thing. These two add up, these three angles add up to 180. But also, if this angle here is 90 degrees, we know that the sum of these two angles has to also be 90, because 90 plus 90 is 180. This angle here is already 90, so 4x plus 2 plus 3x plus 4 equals 90 degrees. Combine like terms. Subtract 6. Divide by 7. And x equals 12. But that's not my answer, because this question says find the measure of angle A. Here's angle A. It's 3 times x plus 12. So we're going to take 3, plug in 12 for x, and then add 4. So that's 36 plus 4, which is 40 degrees. That would have been my answer, 40. All right, number 5. Okay, this one we're going to use our knowledge or understanding that the sum of the three angles of a triangle equals 180. So 70 plus 60 equals 130. We're going to subtract that from 180 to find the missing angle. This angle is 50. Now I understand we're looking for this one. How does that help us? Well, because it's 50, this angle right here is 120 degrees, because 50 plus 70 is 120. That means this angle right here is 60, because that would be a linear pair. 120 plus 60 would equal 180. Well, now that we have that, we know that this angle plus this angle plus this angle equals 180 degrees. And when we do the math for that, we end up with 70 degrees. Find the measure of each angle. We found the measure of the angle indicated right here. All right, number 6. This is similar to that question where we had this exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So 100 plus this missing angle, which we'll call x, angle D, is equal to 156. Subtract 100 from both sides, and 56 is my answer. Okay, number 7. Same thing right here. We're dealing with a lot of these types. Exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So 6x minus 2 plus 65 is equal to the exterior angle, which is 15x. So we're going to combine like terms. 6x plus 63 equals 15x. That should be 63. Subtract 6x, and 63 is equal to 9x. Divide by 9, and x is equal to 7. That's not my answer because they want the measure of angle G. Well, here is angle G, 3 times x, or 6 times x, so 6 times x, which x equals 7. We're going to substitute it there. Subtract 2. We end up with 42 minus 2 equals 40 degrees. So that's the measure of angle G. Let's look at the back. Number 8, if you have a question like this, I would recommend that you draw a triangle. So let's draw a triangle here. And we'll call it QRS. Now it says that RS is 14, QS is 23, and QR is 22. Those are the lengths of the segments. Now remember, if we're ordering the angles from smallest to largest, the smallest angle is opposite the smallest side. Well, look at 14 is the smallest side, which means angle Q is my smallest angle. My next shortest side is segment QR, 22, so opposite that would be angle S, which leaves angle or segment QS as my largest side, which is opposite angle R. Number 9 is the same, except we'll draw the triangle again. VWX. We have V, which is 50 degrees, X, which is 60 degrees, and W, which we have to take 50 and 60, which is 110. Subtract that from 180 to find out what angle W is. We find out it is 70 degrees. Sorry, that's pretty sloppy, but it should say 70. Well, the shortest angle is, or the smallest angle is angle V, which was 50. So opposite that would be WX. That's how we label segments. 60 was my next angle, and it was opposite VW. Again, I apologize that it looks so sloppy. And my largest angle was angle W, which was opposite the segment VX. That's how we came up with those. Now, if we were going to name the angles, look at number 8 again. If we're going to label those angles, we have to either label them with one letter if it's obvious that there's only one angle for that one letter, or 3 letters. Angle Q could also be angle RQS. Angle S could also be angle RSQ, and so on. What we can't have is we can't have an angle and then 2 letters. And I had several people do that on the quiz. We don't name angles based on 2 letters. We either name them off of 1 letter or 3 letters, with the middle letter being the vertex of the angle. Alright, let's look at number 10. Number 10 says that state whether the 3 numbers can be the sides of a triangle. Remember, we take the 2 smallest sides, 12 plus 7, which is 19, and in order for it to be a triangle, they must be greater than the third side. 20. Is this the case? No, 19 is not greater than 20, so can these be the sides of a triangle? No, they cannot. We do the same thing on number 11. We have 7, 10, and 9. Two smallest sides are 7 and 9. That equals 16. Is that greater than the third side, which is 10? Yes, it is. So my answer is yes, those can be the sides of a triangle. Number 12. This was a tricky one. Two sides of a triangle have the following measures. Find the range. Now remember, our range is going to have x is greater than or less than different numbers. The third side is my variable. I don't know what the third side is, so we're going to write three inequalities. 9 plus 11 is greater than x, because those two sides have to add up to be greater than x. 9 plus x is greater than 11. And then my third inequality, which is 11 plus x, has to be greater than 9. Well, we're going to solve these. 9 plus 11 is 20 greater than x. Subtract 9 from both sides, and we get x is greater than 2. And then for the last one, we subtract 11, and we get x is greater than negative 2. Well, if we get a negative, we can't have a negative side of a triangle, so that's eliminated. That's out of the question. So we end up with x being greater than 2, but it's also less than 20. So if it's greater than 2, the 2 would go there. If it's less than 20, it would go there. And that is the range of possible measures for the third side. Number 13, find the value of x. And for 13, 14, and 15, you were supposed to find the value for x. So if this angle is congruent to this angle, it's an isosceles triangle, so this segment is congruent to that segment, so x equals 8. If you understood that, it should be fairly simple because you didn't have to do any math as far as computation goes. Number 14 was tricky. You have to use your knowledge of triangles to figure out what the other, as many angles as you could, because 69 and x had no relationship. However, this is isosceles, which means these two angles are congruent. This angle was 69. Well, we could find out what this angle was, or is, if we take 69 plus 69, which is 138. And remember, that has to add up with our missing angle to be 180. So we take 180 and subtract 138, which leaves us with 42. So that means this angle is 42. Well, this angle right here, the two angles add up to equal 90, so we're going to take 90, subtract 42, and get 48, which means that this angle right here is 48. Now, this is an isosceles triangle as well, so these two angles are congruent, making this 48. And there's a couple ways we could have solved it. The easiest way here was to say this is an exterior angle, so it's equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So x was equal to 48 plus 48, which is 96, the answer to our question. Now what you might have also done, you might have tried to find this missing side right here by taking 48 and 48, which is 96, and subtracting 180, 96 from 180, which would have given you 140, which would have given you 84 degrees, which would have been the measure of this angle. This would have been a linear pair. 180 minus 84 would give you 96, so it still would lead you to the same answer of x equaling 96. And the last problem on the quiz, similar type of question. Remember, we're still solving for x. This angle is 34 degrees. Let me change the color. 34 degrees. Because it's a vertical angle. These two angles are congruent. Now, it's also isosceles, which means these angles are congruent. That's 34 degrees. If that's 34 degrees and this is a right angle, well, this angle has to be 90 minus 34, which is 56 degrees. Which, it's an isosceles triangle. So this angle is also 56 degrees. So what we have now is 56 plus 56 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Well, we get 112 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. Subtract 112, and the measure of angle 2 is equal to 68. Well, that's not our answer because the directions say to solve for x. So what we do now is the measure of angle 2 is 68. We're going to say 68 is equal to 9x minus 4. Add 4 to both sides. 72 equals 9x. Divide by 9. And we get x equals 8 as our solution. Okay? These are the solutions to the quiz that you took. Hopefully these help you with your corrections.